is the rain now? I'm a pretty powerful mouse to be able to turn down the rain. Hi, hey, it's Mimzy May, haunted house mouse tamer and polite pumpkin eater, here to give you creepy, cozy company. I am back, finally, with an ASMR stream. We will be finishing up Goosebumps one day at Horrorland. So yeah. Are we gonna be reading a scary story? We are. We are halfway through this book, and then we are on to the next book. So yeah. But before I do that, hello Aito and Zoe and Emerald and Dee. Am I that quiet? How about now? Am I too quiet? Should I speak a little louder? Hello. Okay, we good. Thank you, Aito. But hi everyone. I hope you are having a pleasant evening. Happy Friday. Congrats to making it to the end of the week. I'm very proud of you. So hopefully that this stream can help you wind down from the week and prepare you for a really good weekend. The things that I have coming up are Pokemon Scarlet. I'm also going to be doing a little to the left, as well as some unpacking, I think. It is going to be a chiller week because I have a lot going on IRL, but yeah. And then I'm also going to be reading some pumpkin recipes on Friday, so that should be fun. Okay, are we all cozy? Are we all ready for story time? Do we have our blankets or our fans? Because I know it's really hot for some people. I hope we have refreshments. Are we ready to fall back asleep? Good. Everyone get comfy, cozy. Let us continue, starting with chapter 5 of Goosebumps One Day at Horrorland. Chapter 15. I covered my eyes with one hand and thrashed out widely with the other hand, trying to beat the bats away. Choking and sobbing, I could barely breathe. I heard Luke calling far, far away. He seemed to be behind a curtain, a flapping, chittering bats. On my knees, I lowered my hand from my eyes and saw that the barn door had slid open. Luke, standing at the door, his mouth open in shock, turned back to Clay and me. I touched the door and it opened, he exclaimed. Clay's glasses were hanging off one ear. His blonde hair was totally messed up. His eyes darted around the barn. "Where are the bats?" he cried. I raised my eyes to the rafters. "Hey," I cried out. "No bats. No sign of any bats anywhere." I climbed to my feet, pulling my hair back with both hands. "Let's get out of here," I cried. Clay and I followed Luke out of the barn. The warm sunshine felt so good. I was still itchy from the bats. I rubbed my shoulders and the back of my neck. "I hate bats. I really do," I exclaimed with a shudder. "But there weren't any bats," Luke said, grinning at me. "It was all fake." "Huh? It was not," Clay cried angrily. "Those were bats. I could hear them and feel them." "All special effects," Luke claimed. "It wasn't special effects when one got tangled in my hair," I cried. Thinking about it gave me shivers. "Special effects," Luke repeated. "Really excellent special effects." I was almost scared too. Almost, I cried. I walked over, grabbed him, and pretended to wring his neck. Almost, I heard you screaming your head off, Luke. He pulled out of my grasp, laughing. I knew it wasn't real. I was just screaming like that to scare you. What a liar. I really didn't believe my brother. He was scared. He was plenty scared. I knew he was. They were bats, not special effects, I insisted angrily. Then where did they go when the door opened? Luke demanded. As soon as the door opened, the bats all vanished. Let's stop talking about it, Clay pleaded. Let's find your parents, okay? Yeah, okay, I agreed, glaring at Luke. You really are nuts, you know that? I told him. He stuck his tongue out at me. I wanted to punch his lights out, but I tried to be a non-violent person, so I just gave him one hard punch on the shoulder. He howled in protest. You're stupid, Lizzie. You're really stupid, he muttered, and you're afraid of pretend bats. I ignored him and led the way down to the path toward the front gate. Two people in horror costumes appeared on the path, going the other way, chatting enthusiastically. Is this the way to the front gate? I called to them. They ignored my question, walked right past us. Hey, I called to them, but they both kept jabbering away and didn't even seem to see or hear me. The sun beamed down on us. The air had become hot and still, with no breeze at all. I wiped sweat off my forehead with one hand. I could still smell the sour aroma of the bat barn. The odor was on my hands and on my clothes. I saw 4 teenagers in bathing suits, 2 boys and 2 girls, hurrying over the grass toward a large brown pond. A sign came into view near the shore. It read, Alligator Pond, feel free to swim here. Luke laughed. Are those guys crazy? We stopped to watch them step into the water. Do you think there are really alligators in there? Clay asked, biting his lower lip. I shrugged. Who knows? I don't know what to think about this park. I continued along the path. A few minutes later, I recognized the mountain-shaped structure of the Doom Slide. The wide, circular plaza came into view. It was nearly deserted. Even the ice cream-selling horror had vanished from his cart. Where do you suppose Mom and Dad are? I asked. They've probably been looking for us for hours. And now they're really mad, Luke said, frowning. Where are they? Clay cried. He was starting to sound really stressed out. We've got to find them. Is that them? Luke asked. He was pointing to a man and a woman in the shade of a large stone fountain. I shielded my eyes from the sun with one hand. The woman was tall with dark hair. The man was short and blonde. Yes, that's them, I cried happily. I started running to the fountain, calling to them, Mom, Dad. The boys came racing after me. Mom, Dad, hey, I shouted happily. They both turned around, surprised expressions on their faces. Oh, I cried out. When I saw it, it wasn't them. I stopped short, and Luke bumped right into me. Sorry, I told the confused couple. We thought you were someone else. The 3 of us hurried across the plaza. I could hear the wail of wolf howls from the werewolf village. The ice cream cart stood lonely and deserted near the entrance to the Doom Slide. Where are they? Clay asked, whining. I'm starting to get hungry. Yeah, it's way past lunchtime, I agreed. They could be anywhere, Luke said unhappily, kicking a pebble across the pavement. They could be anywhere in this giant park. I sighed. Let's look for them in the shade. The sun is really getting hot. We headed toward the shade of the Doom Slide building. Suddenly, 2 green costume horrors came into view. Their big yellow eyes bulged in front of their heads. Without thinking, I went running up to them. "Have you seen our parents?" I asked breathlessly. They stared at me in surprise. "Your parents?" one of them repeated. "Yeah," I nodded. "My mom has black hair, my dad is kind of short, and he has blonde hair." The two horrors glanced at each other. Mom was wearing a bright yellow sundress, I told them, and Dad had a Chicago Cubs cap on his head, Luke added. "Oh, yeah, right," one of the horrors, a woman, replied. "You saw them?" I asked eagerly. She nodded. "Yeah, I remember them. They left. They left about half an hour ago." "Huh?" I gaped at her in disbelief. "They asked me to give you a message," the horror said. "Message? What message?" I asked. "Goodbye," the horror replied. What a message. Not even an "I love you." Just a goodbye. I would have said farewell. It's more dramatic that way. Let's see. Chapter 16. "You're wrong," I cried. "They wouldn't leave. About half an hour ago," the horror repeated. She shrugged her shoulders under the bulky monster costume. "I was at the gate when they left." But, I sputtered. The two horrors turned and began walking to a small white shed at the edge of the plaza. "Hey, wait," I called, chasing after them. "You made a mistake. Our parents wouldn't leave without us." They disappeared into the shed. The door slammed behind them. I turned back to Luke and Clay. They stared at me blankly. "She was wrong," I told them. "Mom and Dad are still here. I know it." "Then why did she say—" Clay started, but his voice broke. I can see that he was very worried and upset. Beads of sweat ran down his pink forehead. Luke tried to make a joke. "I guess that means we have the whole park to ourselves," he exclaimed, forcing a smile. "Very funny," I replied sarcastically. "We also have no money, and we're about 300 miles from home." "We could call somebody," Luke suggested. "No phones," Clay muttered. He lowered his head, shoved his hand into the pockets of his shorts, and turned away from us. "Oh, right," Luke remembered. "They told Dad there are no phones in the park." "That's crazy," I said heatedly. "They're liars. The horrors are all liars." "I guess that's their job," Luke said. "Telling us lies to scare us to death. That's why they call it Horrorland." "They should call it Dumbland," Clay replied bitterly. "Wow, Clay, get him." "But it's so cool," Luke protested. "I love being scared out of my wits, don't you?" He gave Clay a hard shove. "No," Clay replied softly. He made no attempt to shove Luke back. "Well, she was lying about Mom and Dad," I insisted, gazing at the white shed. "She was just trying to scare us. Mom and Dad are still here. We just have to find them." "Come on, let's go," Luke urged. "I hope we find them soon. I'm getting really hungry." We wandered through the park for what seemed like hours. We searched through dark, mysterious woods and strange monster villages. We passed through a carnival area with dozens of scary-looking rides. On the other side of Vampire Village, we passed a building marked Monster Zoo. It was closed, but we could hear the most terrifying grunts, howls, and moans coming from inside. A long yellow building had a sign outside that proclaimed, "Guillotine Museum. Please hold on to your head." I like that. Luke wanted to go inside, but Clay and I talked him out of it. Horrorland was surprisingly empty. We passed several horrors scurrying along the paths in their bright green costumes. We saw a few families wandering around, always with crying kids. The rides in the carnival area were all running empty. All the food stands and restaurants were empty too. We walked clear across to the other end of the park. I was feeling more and more worried. Why hadn't we run into Mom and Dad? Surely we should have seen them by now. Clay had become very quiet. I could tell he was really scared. Even Luke trudged along with his shoulders slumped and his head down. By the time we found ourselves back at the alligator pond, I was feeling pretty bad. I crossed the grassy shore and walked up the edge of the brown water. What do you think happened to those teenagers who went swimming here? Luke asked, staring across the pond. Think the alligators ate them? Maybe, I replied. I wasn't really listening to him. I was thinking about Mom and Dad. Hey, look, Clay cried, pointing to the water. I saw two long, greenish-brown logs floating towards us on top of the water. It took me a while to realize that the logs were alligators. Big ones, Clay declared in a hushed whisper. Better step back, I warned them. All three of us were standing at the water's edge. The alligators floated silently just below the surface of the still water, hardly creating a ripple. Mom and Dad didn't leave without us, I repeated for the 1000th time. But we searched everywhere, Luke said quietly. They didn't leave without us, I said. They would never leave without us. So, I hesitated. I was thinking hard, and my thoughts were all so frightening. So? Clay asked eagerly. So if they're not in the park, I continued, it means something happened to them. Something bad happened to them. Clay gasped. Luke narrowed his blue eyes at me. What do you mean, Lizzie? He asked. I mean, maybe this park really is evil, I said. And maybe the horrors or somebody did something bad to Mom and Dad. I stared down at the brown alligator. As the brown alligator backs, gliding so smoothly, so effortlessly towards us. That's crazy, Luke muttered. I knew it was crazy, but I had no other explanation. I had such a bad feeling about this park, I told them. A real bad feeling. And as I said that, I felt strong hands grab me from behind and push me into the alligator pond. Oro, hi, welcome in. Hi. Hello from Montana. What are you doing all the way over there? Are you visiting? Because if you are, I hope you have a safe trip. Unless you're out in Montana now, and if you are, then, you know, have fun in Montana. I don't really know what to do in Montana. I don't know what people do in Montana. I honestly forgot Montana was a state. So, please don't ask me to try to figure out what happens in Montana. Traveling the world. Tomorrow you'll be in Chicago. That's so exciting. Well, then I hope you have a safe trip. That's really cool. I'm not meant for traveling. Visiting somewhat of a second family. Oh, that's nice. I hope you enjoy the visit then. I'm not really meant for traveling. I don't really like traveling too much. I get pretty restless in cars, and I get airsick, so I prefer to stay at home. I'm very much a homebody, a home mouse. So, even if, you know, I don't know. I do like hotels though. I think hotels are neat. I like how cold it is. Like the air conditioning and everything. I do like forests and going hiking and stuff. I just don't really like being around a lot of people. So like planes here with a lot of people all the time. But I love airports because of how cold they are. So, yeah. I would go to a lot more places if they had less people. A super small town in Montana. It'll be perfect for you. Interesting. A mile from the border of Canada. Wowee. I've always wanted to go to Canada. Like the foresty areas. Same with like Washington and Oregon. I just kind of want to get lost in the forest for a while. And also see it when it's snowy. I would love to see a snowy forest. We can't make that happen, Oro, because you are currently in Montana and then going to Chicago. So, I really do hope you have a fun time though. I will be living vicariously through you because I am not a traveler or a people person. Alright. Next chapter, shall we? Chapter 17. I screamed. Alright, we were pushed into an alligator pond. Right. I screamed. Then I realized I wasn't being tossed into the water. The hands were holding onto my shoulders. I spun around. Dad, I cried. Lizzie, he explained, still holding onto me. Where have you guys been? We've searched this entire park 12 times, Mom declared. She was standing behind us on the grass, hands pressed tensely on her waist. We were looking for you, I cried. They told us you left, Luke said. We were kind of scared, Clay added. We all started talking at once. I was so happy to see them. I could see that Luke and Clay were really happy too. I'd imagined all sorts of terrible things happening to Mom and Dad. It wasn't like me to let my imagination run away like that. But Horrorland was such a scary place. It was impossible not to have scary thoughts here. I want to go home, I said. Did you find a phone? Claire asked. Did you find a car? Dad shook his head. No phones. The guy in the monster park didn't lie. There are no phones in the park. But the horrors were very nice to us, Mom broke in. They told us not to worry about a thing. They said to just come to the ticket booth when we were ready to leave, Dad reported. Mom ran a hand tenderly through Luke's hair. Did you go on any rides or anything? We did a lot of scary stuff, Luke told her. Very scary, Clay added. I'm really hungry, Luke said. Dad glanced at his watch. It's way past lunchtime. I think we're all hungry. The restaurant and food stands are all on the other side of the park, Mom said. Can we just eat lunch and then leave? I asked eagerly. I still had a bad feeling about the place. I wanted to get away from Horrorland, far away. Your mom and I spent all our time searching for you, Dad said, wiping sweat off his sunburned forehead with one hand. We haven't had any fun at all. We should at least go on one ride together before we leave, Mom said. I just want to go, I urged. I really do. Lizzie, that's not like you, Mom scolded. She's scared, Luke told them. She's a chicken. Maybe there's a ride that will take us to the front of the park, Dad suggested. We could all take it, then have lunch, and leave. That sounds good, Mom said. She stared at me. Okay with you? I guess, I told her, sighing. It's just that the rides here are all too scary. They aren't any fun. Luke laughed. They're too scary for Luke, but not for Clay and me, he said. Right, Clay? I was a little scared of the bat barn, Clay confessed. We headed away from the alligator pond, across the grassy shore to the paved walkway. A couple of costumed horrors walked past us, chattering in low voices. A girl's high-pitched screams of terror floated in the air from somewhere in the distance. The same frightening cry repeated over and over again. Wolf howls rose up in front of us, and from the speaker hidden somewhere in the trees, I heard evil laughter, a hideous cackle that repeated over and over. It's like being in a horror movie, Mom commented. Very clever, Dad added, walking with a hand on my shoulder. It's strange that we never heard of this park. They should put some ads on TV, Mom said. Then they'd get more people to come here. We passed by a small, narrow green building with a sign in front that read, Free Fall, the only bungee without a cord. Want to try that? Dad asked, squeezing my shoulder and grinning at me. I don't think so, I quickly replied. Luke was way ahead of us. He turned around and walked backward, waiting for us to catch up. Mom and Dad should try the Doom slide, he said, grinning. It's awesome. Had he really forgotten how terrified he was? I don't think they'd like it, I said quietly. Maybe we could find something that's just a little scary, Clay suggested. Dad laughed. Are you having a good time, Clay? Clay hesitated. A little, he replied finally. I'm having a great time, Luke declared. The path curved along a narrow brown river. Millions of tiny white insects flitted over the surface of the water. Catching the bright sunlight, they looked like the little sparkling diamonds. A small brown boathouse came into view. Behind it, I could see slender canoes bobbing beneath a wooden dock. A sign beside the boathouse read, Coffin Cruise, a relaxing float to the grave. This might be fun, Mom said, her eyes on the small boat. I think the river flows toward the front of the park, Dad said. Let's take it. Luke cheered and went running to the dock. I lingered behind the others. When I finally stepped out into the dock, it took me a while to realize that the objects bobbing in the brown water weren't canoes. They were coffins. They were made of black polished wood. The lids were pulled back, revealing red satin interiors. Each coffin was big enough for one person. I felt a cold chill run down my back. We're really going to climb into coffins, I said. They look comfy, Mom said, smiling at me. The water is flat and gentle, Lizzie. It won't be a scary ride. Me first, Luke cried, running to the end of the wooden dock. Two costume horrors appeared to help us into the coffins. Lie back, enjoy the ride, one of them said. It will be your last, the other horror added with a low chuckle. When we were all inside coffins, the horrors untied them and gave us a hard push away from the dock. Here I am, I thought, lying in my coffin. Here we all are, my entire family on our backs, in our coffins. The coffin floated gently, bobbing in the water. I stared up at the bright blue sky. Trees shimmered on both banks as I floated past. It was so pretty. So relaxing. Why did I think something terrible was about to happen? Bella, hi, hey, welcome in. It is story time. We are now on chapter 18 of the book. We didn't miss much, besides some alligators, which I love. I love alligators. I think I just love any animal with sharp teeth. Probably because I have sharp teeth. I'm really enjoying the story so far. I really love... My favorite kind of paranoia is, my favorite kind of horror is paranoia. I love paranoid horror because you can't tell what's real or what isn't real, and then you start overthinking. It's like a very good way... It's a very good and easy manipulation tactic. It's a very good manipulation tactic if you're trying to really like mess with people like that. Just using making them distrust their own senses and what they know, and in that way, when they distrust their own senses and their own knowledge and their own brain, you become their brain and you become their senses. That is Yandere 101. Not that I would know about it, since I am not a yandere. But, you know, I know of yanderes. A few of them. Twins, in fact. Boa, thank you for this stream. Thank you. So, but yeah. That is only twins. Oro, listen. Listen. And we also do have a handful of community yanderes. But, you know. I myself not a yandere. Allegedly. I don't know. There still might be time. I could be corrupted. I could be possessed by a yandere ghost. I could be possessed by a ghost. My VTuber brain is like... My VTuber brain is like buzzing right now. Interesting. Oh, okay. Because it makes me think of spirit channeling, right? Being possessed by ghosts, spirit channeling, and how when a lot of people channel spirits, or when it's depicted in media, they become a completely different person. Or they like have different mannerisms, or they have like, you know, their appearance changes slightly. Ooh, chat, I think I might be onto something. I might be onto something. Ooh, I like this. Boa, why are we blowing up a store? That doesn't sound polite. Was this store impolite? I wanna make her worse. Corruption kink, go burr. And I do like to bite. That's why I have sharp teeth. Let the mouse cook. Yes, please let me cook. I'm a Michelin star mouse. A Michelin mouse. I'm always trying to find new ways to keep things interesting for you all. But that's also within my lore. And my lore is that I'm around a lot of ghosts. So if I was possessed by, you know, a demonic, vampiric shadow entity who happens to be a yandere, just putting it out there. These monsters drowned my bread and butter and didn't even give me my mac and cheese. Instead giving me soup? That does sound awful. I mean, I like butter. But like, not like drowned in butter. I mean, I prefer my bread with some olive oil, like flavored olive oil, like dipping in like, or some garlic aioli. But drowned in butter doesn't sound great. But getting mac and cheese, but not getting mac and cheese and getting soup instead? You truly are at Horrorland. What I said. I'm sorry. I hope you get out of Horrorland soon and that you get your mac and cheesies. I love mac and cheese. I just love cheese. I suppose that isn't too, surprising. Because I am a mouse. There's just too much. I ate a piece and all I got was butter in my mouth and ooh. I really like buttered popcorn, but I once over buttered my popcorn and never again. Never again. I did. Thank you for the pumpkin juice. Thank you. If, make sure that you all are hydrating as well, please, and taking stretch breaks or at least shifting your position and stuff. And I hope if you're sleeping, you have nice dreams and that you're having nice dreams right now. And if you're using me as background for work, then you got this. You got this. Woo. Go, chat, go. Go, chat, go. Go, chat, go. But I am hydrating as we speak. The mouse likes cheese, who would have thought? I do. I'm very picky about my cheese though. I don't like all cheese. Because I don't like blue cheese. I'm not a blue cheese person. And I usually like soft or semi-soft cheeses, not usually hard cheeses. I'm very picky. I'm a very picky cheese person. Waiting for the sun to go down to fall asleep to a pleasant voice. Well, not to be a yandere main, but it better be mine. I feel like I'm the only pleasant voice around these parts. Around these parts of the patch. Right, chat? Right? Chat, you tell me if I wasn't the only pleasant voice around here, right? And you'd execute them? That was very Emery of me, I apologize. Okay, let's get back into the book. Finally found my earbuds so I can enjoy the ASMR to the fullest. Okay, good. Good. I'm in your ears now, Boa. I'm in your brain. I'm scurrying in your brain. And I'm chewing on the wires that are in there. Don't worry. It's just called the mouse lobotomy. Just don't worry about it. Okay. Chapter 18. Lying on my back, I couldn't see the others over the coffin sides, but I could hear the splash of their coffins around mine. This is... My voice did not see that, Boa. Boa, put the card down. Boa, drop it. Drop it. Drop it. Or I will butter all of your bread for the rest of your life. And your mac and cheese. You'll have overly buttered mac and cheese. Is that what you want? Drop it. I'm watching you. But I could I could hear the splash of their coffins around mine. This is nice, Mom said. Very relaxing. It's boring, Luke declared from up ahead of me. Where's the scary part? It's just a nice ride in a coffin, Dad said. Do you think we're really floating? Or do you think the coffin is on some kind of track? I could float like this for hours, Mom said. Okay, but like, Floating around in a coffin does sound very delightful. I want a coffin. The rides here are pretty long, Clay told her. Is that a hawk up in the sky? Dad asked. Can everyone see it? Shielding my eyes from the sun with one hand, I stared to the sky. Directly above, a dark shadow hovered high in the sky, a little bigger than a dot. It's not a hawk. I'll bet it's a vulture, Luke declared. It sees the coffins and it's waiting to eat our flesh, he laughed. Luke, where do you get these hideous ideas? Mom demanded. Maybe Luke should live in Horrorland, Dad explained. We could get him one of those green monster costumes and he'd fit right in perfectly. He doesn't need a costume, I joked. I was starting to feel a little better. The ride was gentle and relaxing, and I figured nothing terrible could happen with my whole family around. I settled back on the coffin bottom, my hands resting at my sides, and stared up dreamily at the birds circling high in the clear sky. The coffin bobbed gently, making soft splashing sounds. So pleasant, so quiet. And then, before I could utter a sound, the coffin lid slammed shut over me, and I was trapped in total darkness. Okay, that would freak me out, not gonna lie. I didn't imagine the coffins having lids. I just thought it was the coffin bottom. And so the fact that it has a lid and it closes on you, I would freak out. Oh, I would freak out. Good gracious. And I'm not particularly claustrophobic or anything. But I'm also really afraid of the dark. So, that would scare me. I think I'd cry. Chapter 19. Hey, I shouted. Hey, listen. Watch out. Hey, I shouted. My voice was muffled by the heavy lid over me. I could hear the dull thud of the other coffin lid slamming shut. Hey, let me out. I pushed against the lid with both hands, but it wouldn't budge. I took a deep breath and tried again. This time, I pushed with my hands and my feet. The heavy lid still didn't move. My heart was pounding so hard, I thought my chest would explode. The air inside the closed coffin was already getting hot and stuffy. Open up, I screamed. I tried pushing the lid again. I could hear Clay's muffled cries in the coffin next to mine. The poor guy was screaming his head off. I let out a groan as I pushed with all of my strength. The lid wouldn't even give an inch. Calm down, Lizzie. Calm down, I instructed myself. It's just a stupid ride. The coffin lid will open any second. Breathing hard, I waited. I counted to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I counted to 10 again. The lid didn't snap open. I tried shutting my eyes and counting to 50. When I reached 50, I told myself, I'll open my eyes and the lid will open. 22, 23, 24. I counted out loud. My voice sounded tiny and choked. It was getting hard to breathe. The air began to feel really stale. I stopped counting at 25 and opened my eyes. The lid hadn't popped open. It's so hot in here, I thought. The sun is beating down on the lid. There's no air and I'm going to fry. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. I gasped for air. Outside, I could hear muffled shouts and cries. Is that my mother screaming like that? It's just a ride, I said out loud. Just a stupid ride. The lid is going to pop now. But it didn't. The air was so hot and stale. Why didn't the lid open? Why? I tried to force back my panic, but I couldn't. My entire body was shaking and shivering. I felt cold perspiration drip down my forehead. Something has gone wrong, I cried out loud. The lid is supposed to open, but it doesn't. Frantically, I pushed up with both hands. My arms ached from pushing so hard, but the lid didn't move. The coffin bobbed and rocked in the water. I lowered my hands in defeat. I sucked in a mouthful of the hot, stale air. My chest was heaving, my body trembled. And then, I felt my legs start to itch. A tingly feeling near my ankles, moving up my legs. An itchy, crawling feeling. Something was crawling slowly up my legs. Something small and prickly. I let out a low, terrified groan. Spiders. Spooky. I would definitely be freaking out. Absolutely. I would absolutely be freaking out. There was this book that I read a while back that there was a specific chapter I couldn't read, and I had to have my brother read it for me and sum up what happened, because I have a very overactive imagination, which is why I make for a good writer, but I also end up scaring myself a lot, and if I imagine things too vividly, it really messes with me and my OCD. So it was like, it started out with like bugs or like roaches crawling out of somewhere because it was a book about a cult and things were happening, and like they were describing where the roaches were coming from and how they were sounding and feeling and such, and I was like, I can't read this. I definitely can't read this. It was a very interesting book. Very edgy. A lot of gore and a lot of religious imagery, which I always enjoy. I'm always a sucker for religious imagery. My imagination is very strong. That's also what makes me kind of crazy though, because then I in relationships and stuff, I'm just like, but consider, even though they're talking to me right now, they could be imagining someone else, or they could be doing this instead, or they could be doing that instead, and then it gets me in trouble, because I overthink, and then I come up with elaborate stories. And that is why I write, because if I don't write, I'm gonna go nuts. And there will not be any more nuts in the world. And I like nuts, especially in chocolate. And that has been Mimzy's TED Talk. Mouse Talk. Okay. I feel like overthinking is truly an intimidating beast. I feel like I can talk a lot more and about a lot more when I'm talking quieter and slower. I don't know. I feel very comfortable talking like this. I mean, I feel comfortable talking in the other ways. At least a little bit more comfortable than I was starting out. But I feel like when I'm doing ASMR or anytime I have to keep my voice low, I end up yapping a lot. Get some humming and singing in the end? I'll consider it. I'll consider it. Considering you were talking, I've always been doing well since the beginning, though. No. I have still so much to learn. I feel like I still have so much to improve on, and I could be doing so much more, and I'm always learning something new. Okay, I will do some humming, because I do want to get used to humming and singing on stream, because I still owe the community covers. So, okay. And we're close to the end of the book anyway, and I wanted to try to meet my 2 hours, so. Alright. Let us continue. Chapter 20. I tried to scratch my legs, but my arms weren't long enough. Unable to move or bend in the cramped coffin, I couldn't reach down to them. The tingling moved higher. I wanted to scream, but I started to cough. And then the coffin lid popped open. Bright sunlight made me shut my eyes. Oh! I pulled myself up to a sitting position. Blinking against the light, I saw the others already scrambling up out of their coffin. I scratched my leg furiously. To my surprise, there were no spiders, no bugs of any kind. The coffin had pulled up to a small dock. I braced my hands against the sides of the coffin and heaved myself to my feet. "Let's get out of here," I heard Clay cry. "That was horrible," my mom shrieked. Luke didn't say anything. His face was pale, and his black hair was matted to his forehead with sweat. "They really went too far," Dad said angrily. "I'm going to complain." "Let's just go," Mom told him. We all scrambled onto the dock. I helped pull Clay up, then I took several deep breaths of fresh air. Dad ran off the dock toward the open plaza, and the rest of us hurried after him. "To the ticket booth," he called back to us. "Right up there." He pointed. The coffin ride had taken us to the front of the park. I could see the front gate and the row of green ticket booths to the right. "That ride was really gross," Clay said, shaking his head. "My legs got all itchy. I thought it was ants," Luke declared. "I thought it was spiders," I told him. "I wonder how they did that," Luke said thoughtfully. "I don't care," I replied. "I just want to get out of here. I hate this place." "So do I," Clay agreed. "They just go too far," Mom said breathlessly, jogging to keep up with us as we followed Dad. "It isn't any fun when a ride is that scary. I really had trouble breathing." "So did I told her. "Hey, how do we get home?" Luke suddenly demanded, staring at Mom. "Our car blew up." "I think those people in the monster costumes will lend us a car," Mom replied. "They told your father just to come to the ticket booth." "Can we stop and get pizza?" Luke asked. "Ooh, pizza sounds so good right now. I would love pizza. They just keep extra cars on hand." I can see it. They're all like green and decked out. With like horns and stuff. They're all bugs. They're all Volkswagen bugs. "Let's get out of this place and then worry about lunch," Mom told him. The main plaza was totally empty. Not another living person. We followed Dad to the first ticket booth. He turned back to us, making a disappointed face. "Closed," he said. A metal grate had been pulled over the window. Dad was beating hard from running all the way. He pushed his blonde hair off his sweaty forehead with both hands. "Over here," he said. We followed him to the next ticket booth. Also closed. Then the next. Closed. It didn't take us long to discover that all of the ticket booths were closed. "Weird," Luke said, shaking his head. "Don't they expect any more visitors today?" Mom asked Dad. "How can they just close up like that?" Dad shrugged. "We need to ask someone." His eyes searched the empty grounds. I turned and checked out the plaza along with him. Still no one in sight. No visitors, no horrors. "Let's try over here," Dad said. He started walking to a slow green building that stood beyond the ticket booths. It looked like some kind of office. It was closed too. Dad tried the door. It was locked. Dad scratched his head. "What's going on here? Where'd everyone disappear to?" he demanded. Mom took his arm. "It's very strange," she said softly. I glanced at Luke and Clay. They were standing tensely side by side on the walk in front of the office. Neither of them spoke. "Are you sure these are the right ticket booths?" I asked. "Yes," Dad said wearily. "This is the front entrance." "So where can everyone be?" Mom asked, chewing her lower lip. "Maybe we can find someone in the parking lot," I suggested. "You know, a parking attendant or something. They'll be able to tell us how to get a car to go home." "Good idea, Lizzie," Dad said. He patted the top of my head the way he used to when I was a little girl. I waited for Luke to make fun of me, but he didn't say a word. I guess he was too worried and upset. "Come on," I urged. I turned and ran past the empty ticket booths. The tall metal front gate to Horrorland stood just beyond the booths. I stopped for a second to read a sign on the side of one of the ticket booths. It said, "No exit. No one leaves Horrorland alive." "Ha ha," I said sarcastically. "These signs are a riot, aren't they?" I jogged the rest of the way and reached the gate first. I pulled it and it wouldn't open. So I tried pushing it. It didn't move. Then I saw the heavy chain and a large steel padlock on the gate. Swallowing hard, I turned back to the others. "We're locked in." "How are they going to get out of this one?" chat. "Hi, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the pumpkin patch. I hope you enjoy your stay." It is funny. I don't know. Maybe it's because I have Goku will show up just in time. Sure. Of course. Goku always shows up. But then the book is gonna take forever. Won't it have to be like 7 more chapters until something happens? Isn't that the joke with Dragon Ball? I know anime. No, that's the anime. Oh, okay. Who needs Goku when you got Madoka Magica? Is that the magical girl anime everyone keeps recommending me? I haven't seen it. I have to catch up on a lot of animes. Like so many. I miss Witch Hat. I can't wait until Witch Hat is back. Madoka is Goku, obviously. I didn't know Goku is a magical girl. Queasy. Very sad, Awawarmi, covered in a cute bow. love anime that makes me cry. Your Lie in April is one of my favorite animes because of how much it hurt. It hurt so bad watching that anime. So, hi! Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the pumpkin patch. Therefore, prepare your heart. My heart is always ready to be broken. Always ready. But I do want to watch more anime. But I did watch a lot of sad animes. Especially back to back. I believe I watched Clannad and Orange back to back. No, it was Your Lie in April, Clannad, and then Orange. And I watched those three back to back. And then Anohana. And I was just crying for like 2 months straight. So, yeah. I do want to watch more anime. But I was told that since I'm not really, what's the word? Since I really don't know a lot of magical girl animes or haven't really watched any, that a lot of the things that anime does differently with magical girls, I'll miss. So I want to try to watch some magical girl animes first. I think the closest because I haven't even really watched Sailor Moon, and I kind of want to watch Sailor Moon. The closest I've gotten to watching a magical girl anime was Powerpuff Girls Z. And I don't even think that counts. I'm brave. I'm masochistic-hearted. Thank you. I know. Perhaps my list of magical girl show recommendations. Card Captor Sakura. Oh, I know that. I know that one. I haven't watched it, but I know Emarichu, the YouTuber, loves Card Captor Sakura. So I would like to see that. Absolutely put your magical girl recommendations in the server, whether mine or the Lux Hearts. What if you turn her into a magical girl? How do you know I'm not already a magical girl? This is my civilian form. Okay, but that'd be really cool if I had a magical girl VTuber model. Magical girl Mimzy. As far as I'm concerned, all girls are magical. You are so right. Cardcaptor Sakura, Sailor Moon, Precure, and Creamy Mummy? We have no shortage of magical girls to choose from. Side eyebits, all I could tell you enough, and power through. Side eyebits. I feel like that is the danger of going through older anime. Since I didn't grow up watching anime and I've only really started watching anime the last handful of years, that I'm going to run into the trouble of a lot of the older media that a lot of people like are actually, have some things that are problematic with them because of the times, but I'm very good at recognizing when things are like the way that they are because of the times, and it doesn't really affect my experience too much, so don't worry. I'm very open and understanding of these types of things, especially because I'm not really used to them, and I trust the people giving me recommendations. Princesses, detectives, pets, pastries, dreams, and aspirations. I like that one. I'm always down for pastries. I might have disregarded everything else. I'm probably a little hungry. Oh, I'm kind of craving some pastries, like a sweet pastry. Sounds very good right now. Would take 15 years? You know how long that is in mouse years? A very long time. I actually don't know if mouse years are different. Interesting. Wow. I can only watch one sad anime every 7 years, though. Banana Fish. Banana Fish is another one that's on my list. Banana Fish and Given are the two, I believe they're both BLs, two BLs that I've been recommended that I want to watch. With the movies and crossover specials. Oh. I know a lot of the older anime series are very long. So that's also why I'm pretty hesitant to get into them. You know what needs to have a movie already? Yuri on Ice. I'm just saying. I'm still waiting on you, Yuri on Ice. I haven't forgotten about you. I'm still waiting. Get your tissues ready. I'm a big crybaby, so I'll probably need all the tissues I can get. Pre-kill Kamen Rider and just watch the new ones and maybe some of the most popular ones. Okay, I trust you. Chat, I trust you. I trust you with my life. And by that, I mean like my anime life. Or my lack of life? My lack of life? I'm ready to be corrupted by anime. I wanna be anime knowledgeable. Especially because I'm on the internet a lot. I wanna do that. So give me your Ice movie and my soul is yours. I need to rewatch Yuri on Ice. It's been a long time. See, Emery and I would cry together because Emery's also a crybaby. So, I have good authority on this. Everyone's just gonna be crying. Chat is gonna be filled with tears. But surely, there'll be a good time still. Happy tears, maybe. Or sad tears. All the tears are sad. As it was said in the olden times, a Wii, is that still used? It's been a while since I last heard it. I'm not sure. But like, I don't actually really know the definition behind it. I don't know a lot of the definitions behind a lot of the pop culture terms and slang that I've seen and heard around. You know? Because people just kind of know what they are. Super into Japanese culture, not just anime. Does that still count if you're also Japanese? Or is it just for non-Japanese people? These are my Avery! Hi, pretty girl! Hi! We're almost at the end now. We're just chatting a little bit about anime. And weaves. And magical girls. And I haven't watched any magical girl animes. Or a lot of animes in general. So I'm trying to watch these animes. The animes. Westerners who think wow, Japan is basically the best country ever and more than likely think anime is accurate to reality. That makes sense. That makes sense. Interesting. Goodness. I have a notebook of a lot of like internet terms and slang and stuff. And it's like, what's the word? What is the word? There's a specific word I'm looking for. Regardless, there's just so many different terms, and I have a lot of difficulties with them. So I have a notebook that has all of these terms in them, different like internet terms and gamer terms and slang and stuff, because I like being able to have a reference, especially if I'm trying to write with modern vernacular. I have to make sure I'm using it correctly, or else I'll feel bad if I use it wrong. Because I already mix up a lot of idioms and metaphors and similes and such, like typical ones, so... Miniature items and food, miniature food. Breathable air and doesn't have the lettuce. Eat the lettuce and die disease? I thought it was eat lettuce, lose 10 pounds from how much you're hitting the back. Goodness gracious. What is going on? Like, I'm also really away from the news. I work too much to actually be around the news. Canada's having a lettuce problem? Canada? What's going on? And a fire problem. Canada? What's going on? I'm really bad at keeping up with current events. And Argentina is making it to the finals? For the Olympics? Is the Olympics on right now? Are we talking about the Olympics? Or did the Olympics already happen? Hatsune Miku is Argentinian? Huh? World Cup. I don't know Tina, but I hope she passes her finals. World Cup. Oh, football, right? Or soccer. Okay. Interesting. I didn't know that was going on. I'm not really sports oriented either. I miss a lot of things. Politics and sports and such. So, I'm not really good at it. So, like, I figured out that there's this convention that's happening in California right now, in San Jose, called Off-Kai. I didn't know Off-Kai was a thing. I've never even heard of it before, so that was really neat. I didn't know there were other big conventions besides AX. Custody for 4 years? Wait, what does Hatsune Miku have to do with Argentina? And football? Soccer? I'm so confused. Okay. I'm gonna trust that you're going to tell me if I need to know any of this. So, completely. See, you guys are getting me yapping. I have to finish this book. A custody battle for Hatsune Miku? I don't know Vocaloids or soccer, so none of it matters. maybe it's the current holder, but wait. But why? I'm gonna look into this later. I need to know what's going on with Hatsune Miku and the World Cup. I wasn't aware she played soccer. Japan lost to Brazil. Hatsune Miku was now Brazilian. Brazil lost to Norway, and then Norway lost to Britain, and Britain lost to Argentina. Oh, okay. So Hatsune Miku is now Argentinian. Okay. This is very interesting. Okay, well then I don't really know. I hope the custody battles go well. And I hope Hatsune Miku is happy wherever she is. Oh, I lost my place in the book. Internet is a wild place and latches onto funny jokes. So I've seen. I wish I get really. I have a hard time following the jokes on the internet, but that is also because I wasn't really on the internet until like 2018. So. And even then, I didn't really get into the internet. Aside from like a few years ago. I didn't even know Twitch was this thing until last year. So, okay. Stop distracting me, chat. I want to finish this book. We're here. Chapter 21. Dad stared at me, his face twisted in confusion. I don't think he believed me. We're locked in, I repeated. I lifted the heavy metal padlock with both hands and then let it fall back with a loud clang against the bars of the gate. But that's impossible, Mom cried, raising her hands to her cheeks. They can't lock people inside an amusement park. Maybe it's another joke, Luke suggested. Maybe in this place... Everything in this place turns out to be a joke. Maybe this one is too. I lifted the heavy padlock again. It doesn't look like a joke, Luke, I said unhappily. There must be another gate where they want us to exit, Mom suggested. Maybe, Dad said doubtfully. Maybe there's a side exit? But I haven't seen one. What are we going to do? Clay asked, whining. His face was red and his breathing was hard. Where is everyone? Luke demanded, whining too. They've got to let us leave. They've got to. Let's try to stay calm, Dad said, putting a hand on Luke's shoulder. There's no reason to panic. This is a strange place, but we're not in any danger. He's right, Mom broke in. There's no reason to be afraid. We'll be out of here and on our way home in no time, she forced a smile. As soon as we get out, I'll buy you guys pizzas and big cold drinks, Dad promised. And we'll all have a good laugh about our terrifying adventures today in Horrorland. How do we get out? Luke demanded shrilly. Well, Dad rubbed his chin. Do you think we could climb the fence? I asked. We all raised our eyes to the top of the iron fence. It was way over our heads. It must have been about 20 feet tall. I can't climb that, Clay cried. I'd fall. It's too high, Mom said quickly. Bad idea, I murmured. A large white cloud drifted over the sun. Our shadows grew longer over the pavement. The air quickly grew colder. I felt a chill run down my back. There's gotta be a way out of this park, I cried angrily. I hoisted up the padlock and slammed it against the bars of the gate. Hold on, Lizzie, Dad said soothingly. We just have to find out. One of the costume park workers, they'll tell us how to get out. Dad? I turned and saw Luke grab Dad's arm. Here they come. We all uttered astonished cries as we saw the horrors crossing the plaza. Dozens of them. They moved quickly with a steady rhythm, silently. A few seconds before, the plaza had been empty. Now it was filled with green costumed horrors marching towards us, spreading out, preparing to surround us. I could feel the panic rise up from my stomach. My knees began to shake. I stared in horror at them as they drew closer and closer. I couldn't speak. I couldn't move. What are they going to do? Clay cried. His features twisted in terror. He slipped behind Dad. What are they going to do to us? Chapter 22. We huddled as the horrors marched silently towards us. The only sound was the soft thud of their monster feet on the pavement and their long purple tails dragging on the ground. There are hundreds of them, Mom murmured. She grabbed Dad's arms with one hand. She slipped her other arm around my shoulders and pulled me closer. We had our backs against the iron fence. We stared helplessly at the grinning green faces, the bulging yellow eyes which appeared to be laughing cruelly at us. Finally, they stopped a few feet in front of us. The plaza was still and silent, terrifyingly silent. The sun was still hidden behind a big cloud. Two large blackbirds swooped low in the gray sky. We stared at the horrors, and they stared back at us. I swallowed hard, leaning against my mother. I could feel her entire body trembling. I took a deep breath, and then cried out, "What do you want?" The horror of my own voice startled me. One of the horrors, a young woman, stepped forward. Frightened, I tried to back up, but my back was already pressed against the fence. "What do you want?" I repeated in a trembling voice. The costume horror stared at us one by one. "I want to thank you," she said in a cheery voice. "Huh?" I uttered. "I'm the Horrorland MC. We all want to thank you for being our guest today." She flashed us a warm smile. "You mean we can go?" Luke demanded, half hidden behind my dad. "Of course," the horror said, grinning warmly. "But first, we all want to thank you for appearing on Horrorland Hidden Camera." I'm sorry? We're in a hidden camera show? I haven't read this book. I want to be clear. I haven't read any of the Goosebumps books, so this is my first time reading this book. And I did not expect it to end in "this was a camera show." Get pranked. Exactly. The dozen of horrors behind her broke into applause and loud tears. "Huh? You mean this is some kind of show?" Dad demanded, frowning. "See the cameras?" the MC asked. She gestured up to two tall poles in the plaza. Raising my eyes to the top, I saw two TV cameras. "You mean we're on TV?" Luke cried. "Since the moment you arrived." The MC replied. "From the hilarious scene where we blew up your car, our hidden our hidden cameras followed you everywhere. The hilarious scene where we blew up your car, Our cameras were with you, and I know our home audience loved the terrified expressions on your face and all of your horrified screams as you took our Horrorland rides. Boa, why do you always make my auto mod, grumpy? Where was I? Now wait a minute, Dad said angrily. He took a step forward. His hands were balled into tense fists at his sides. You see, this was a TV show. How come I've never seen it? We're seen every weekend on the Monster Channel, the horror replied. Oh, Dad replied quickly, lowering his eyes. We don't have cable. You should get it, the horror told me. You're missing a lot of great scary shows on the Monster Channel. The horrors all clapped and cheered. Well, you've been very good sports, the MC continued, her yellow eyes bouncing in front of her head as she talked. We've enjoyed having you, and to show our appreciation, we have a brand new car waiting for you in the parking lot. Wait, they actually blowed? They actually blowed? That doesn't sound right. Blew. They actually blew their car up? That's crazy. Thank you. Is it conjunctions? No. Whatever the grammatical term is, are difficult. Those are difficult. Automa doesn't want Boa having fun and dropping 500 subs. We gotta see for that. Someone blows up my car and kicking them. You can't kick them. See, this is why my Automa doesn't like you. Cheer in the pumpkin patch. Violence isn't the answer, Boa. It's pumpkins. It's always pumpkins. More cheers. That is kind of crazy. Hi. That is kind of crazy though. That they just blew up their car and was just like, here it is. I'm pieing someone in the face? Approved. Make sure it's pumpkin pie, please. And make sure it's spoiled, because you don't want to waste good pumpkin pie. Okay. A new car? Excellent, Luke exclaimed. Does that mean we could leave? Clay asked timidly. The horror nodded. Yes, it's time for you to leave. The real exit is right over there through that doorway. She pointed to a tall green building near the end of the fence. I saw a yellow door on the side. Take the yellow door, the horror instructed, and thanks again for appearing on Horrorland Hidden Camera. As all the horrors clapped their big green hands, we stepped away from the fence and hurried toward the exit. I can't believe we were on TV the whole time, Mom declared. And we're getting a new car, Luke exclaimed. He started jumping up and down. Then he leaped onto Clay's back, nearly knocking him over. I laughed. It was good to see Luke back with us. We've got to get cable, Luke told Dad. I want to see the Monster Channel. It's gotta be awesome. We'll have to order it so we can see ourselves, Mom said. I reached the yellow door first and pulled it open. I stepped into an enormous room with white walls that shone under the bright white lights from the ceilings. Is this the exit? As soon as we were all inside, the door slammed shut with a bang that made my heart skip. Then all the lights went out. Welcome to the Horrorland Challenge, boomed a deep, frightening voice over a loudspeaker. Huh? I gazed blindly around, trying to see something, anything in the total darkness. You have 1 minute to go through the monster obstacle course, the voice thundered. Please keep in mind that the games are now over. This is real. You're playing for your life. Good gracious. What a turn of events. I would be really upset. Because not only did you trick me once, but you're tricking me again in a location with in a white room with fluorescent lighting that's gonna be super overstimulating. Now we have to see. Now maybe we're possibly getting violent. Just a little. Okay. Chapter 23. We've been tricked, I heard Dad cry angrily. And then he shouted at the top of his lungs, "Let's get out of here." "Run," the deep voice boomed over the loudspeaker. "You have 56 seconds. Dad started to shout again, but we stopped when a dim light came up and a disgusting 4-armed creature stepped towards us. "Oh," I cried out without even realizing it. The size of a gorilla, the monster had huge eyes surrounded by thick red fur over its face. Saliva drooled from its mouth, and as it opened its jaws wider, 2 rows of long fangs slid over its thin purple lips. "Don't just stand there. Run. This is an obstacle course." The voice boomed impatiently. "You have 50 seconds to live. At least make a good race of it." The monster uttered a low growl and lumbered toward us in the dim light. Its jaws were open wide as if preparing to bite. Its 4 enormous clawed hands swiped at the air in front of it. I was too stunned to move, too frightened to run. But suddenly, I felt a hand grab mine and tug me hard. It was Dad, I realized, trying to pull me to safety. I heard the boy screaming in fear. I felt Mom brush beside me as we started to stumble forward. "Run, run," the deep voice urged us over the shrieks of the 2 boys. I couldn't see where I was running. The light was so dim, so shadowy. I saw only a blur now, a blur of running feet, of moving shadows. The monster let out a deafening roar. I covered my ears and kept running. Its 4 clawed hands swiped at Dad. Missed. We hurled past it, only to face 2 giant birds. At least 10 feet tall, they looked like cranes. They squawked and flapped their enormous wings. They sounded like a canvas tent flapping in a strong wind. "Oh, help!" Was that me shrieking like that? Was I really being wrapped in their hot, flapping wings? Smothered? Choked? "No, please. How did I break away?" Was I being chased now? By 6 growling, pig-like creatures with sharp, pointed teeth curling from their twisted mouths. The screams and terrified shrieks of my family rose over the beating bird's wings, the monstrous growls and grunts. I heard Dad cry out, and in the dim light I saw him struggling to free himself from the 4-armed creature. "No," I screamed, as I felt something warm wrap around my ankle. A fur-covered snake! I screamed again and kicked wildly, sending it flying into the darkness. But before I could move away, another furry snake spun around my leg, tightening quickly. I bent and pulled at it as it hissed in protest. I tossed it aside. "Run, run," the voice in the loudspeaker boomed. 20 seconds to live. More monsters loomed in front of us, disgusting yellow lizard-like creatures with dark, flicking tongues like bullets. A hopping furry ball that roared as it hopped. sharp teeth poking out of its 3 mouths. Hissing the snakes, enormous buzzing insects with glowing red eyes, more grunting pig monsters. Then a great, giant, bear-like creature came at us on 2 legs. It tossed its dark round head back and laughed like a hyena as its paws punched the air. "Help me," I heard Luke shriek, and then I saw him disappear, wrapped inside the beating wings of one of the giant birds. The bird cawed in triumph as its wings tightened around my brother. 10 seconds, the voice boomed. "No," I cried. I lunged toward the bird, grasped the beating wing and pulled it open. Luke slid out and we both began to run. Monsters growled and flapped and grunted and roared. "Are we going to make it?" Luke asked in a tiny voice. I didn't have a chance to answer. 2 powerful paws grabbed me around the waist, hoisted me high in the air, then slammed me to the floor. I landed hard on my stomach. My forehead hit the floor. Dizzy and hurt, I looked up in time to see an enormous, elephant-like creature about to flatten me with its huge, furry back foot. I'm not gonna make it, I realized. I'm not gonna make it. Chapter 24. The enormous flat foot lowered over me slowly, steadily. The monster was taking its time. It all seemed to be happening in slow motion. I wanted to move. I wanted to roll out from under it. But the fall had taken my breath away. I lay there, gasping, watching the monster foot coming down to crush me. Oh, I couldn't catch my breath. I couldn't squirm away. I could feel the heat of the monster foot. I can smell its putrid sweat. The foot pressed down on my stomach. I shut my eyes and waited for the pain. The jarring blast of a buzzer made my eyes shoot open. The monster raised its heavy foot from my body. The floor shook under its weight as it began to lumber away. Am I alive? I wondered. Or am I only dreaming that I'm still alive? Is that creature really leaving without crushing me? The buzzer echoed in my ear. Then it abruptly stopped. The loudspeaker crackled on. "Time's up," a woman's voice said. The voice of the Horrorland MC who had led us to this terrible, terrifying obstacle course. "Time is up. What a thrilling race," she gushed. I groaned and started to pull myself up. In the dim light, I saw all of the monsters had vanished. That was a tough battle, the MC continued over the loudspeaker. "Do we have any survivors?" "Yes, we do," the deep booming voice replied. "How many survivors do we have in there?" the woman asked. 3, the booming voice replied. 3 survivors out of 5. A cold chill. Chapter 25. A cold chill ran down my body. I opened my mouth in a silent cry of shock and leaped to my feet. 3 out of 5? Would that mean 2 of us were dead? My chest still ached. My knees were trembling. I squinted into the dim light, searching desperately for the others. Halfway across the room, I saw Luke and Clay. They were huddled together, walking as if in a daze toward the far wall. "Hey," I tried to call them, but my voice came out a choked whisper. Where were Mom and Dad? Were they both killed by the monsters? 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. No, I finally found my voice and let out a horrified wail that echoed off the walls. "Excuse me, a slight mistake," the deep voice boomed. "Make that 5 out of 5 survivors." What a jerk. 5 out of 5? the Horrorland MC exclaimed. A new record. We've never had a perfect score before. Let's give them a round of applause, everyone. I took a deep breath and held it, trying to stop my trembling. They're okay, I thought happily. Mom and Dad, they're okay. And then I saw them. They had their arm around Luke and Clay and were making their way towards me. We're okay, I cried, rushing to them, my arms outstretched. We're okay. All 5 of us huddled in the center of the dark room, hugging each other and sobbing. Dad's arm was bleeding from a gash. One of the monsters clawed him. Aside from that, we were shaken, but not hurt. And not stirred either. Now what? Luke asked in a trembling voice. Are they going to let us go? They can't get away with this, Dad said angrily. They can't do this to people and get away with it. I don't care if it is TV. Those monsters were real, I exclaimed with a shudder. It wasn't a fake. They were really trying to kill us. How do we get out? Luke demanded. Will they let us out? We all started chattering at once, our voices high and frightened. Suddenly, the ceiling lights flashed on, flooding the room with bright light, and the MC's voice broke through our frightened conversation. Let's bring our winners out here with a round of applause, she announced cheerfully. We all cried out as the floor began to tilt beneath us. I grabbed on to Dad and we started to slide. The floor tilted down like a sliding board, and we slid out of the room and landed in the plaza outside. Still feeling dazed, I jumped quickly to my feet as the Horrorland MC hurried to greet us. The big crowd of horrors behind her was clapping and cheering. You can't do this to us, I screeched. I was so angry. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just totally free. I leaped at the woman, grabbing the top of her mask, and started to pull it off with her hands. You can't do this, you can't, I shrieked. Let me see your face. Let me know who you really are. Using all my strength, I gave the mask a hard tug. Then I screamed and let go as I realized the truth. Hi, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the pumpkin patch. Okay. It never ends. Real and true. I have no idea how this is gonna end. They keep plot twisting. I'm very curious how this is gonna end. Chapter 26. She wasn't wearing a mask. The monstrous green face was her face. She wasn't wearing a monster costume. None of the horrors were wearing monster costumes, I realized. I stepped back, raising my hands in horror as if trying to shield myself. You're really monsters, I stammered. They nodded back at me, pleased grins on their ugly faces. Their yellow eyes bobbed gleefully. You're all monsters, I screamed. But you said that it was a TV show, I stammered to the horror MC. Her bulging yellow eyes gazed at me. Happy to say it was the top-rated show on the Monster Channel, she said cheerily. Thanks to great contestants like you and your family, the Monster Channel is watched by nearly 2 million monsters all over the world. But, I stammered, taking another step back. People don't always take us seriously, she continued. People come to Horrorland and think it's a big joke. People laugh at the signs around the park. They laugh at the rides and attractions, but it's all very serious to us. All of it. My father stepped up beside me, shaking a fist angrily. But you can't do this to innocent people, he shouted. You can't bring them into this park to torture them, and... Oh, I'm sorry. Our time is up, the MC interrupted, shaking her enormous green head. I'm sad to say, it's time to say goodbye to our special guest for this week. No, wait, Dad shouted, raising both of his hands for quiet. The crowd of horse silently pushed forward. We had no choice but to start moving with them. Let me show you people the way we say goodbye on Horrorland Hidden Camera, the MC said. Dad tried to hold back, to resist, but several horrors bumped against him. They were bumping all of us now, pushing us toward what appeared to be a round purple pond just beyond the plaza. We couldn't fight back. There were too many of them. We couldn't run. They had us surrounded. They drove us like sheepdogs herding cattle. In a few seconds, we were standing at the edge of the purple pond. A foul smell rose up from the pond. The purple liquid bubbled and gurgled, making a sick, sucking sound. "Let us go," we cried shrilly. "We want to go home." The Horrorland MC ignored his frantic pleas and stepped to the edge of the gurgling pond. "Saying goodbye is always sad," she said, "so we just have to have a little fun with our farewells." "Just let us go," Luke insisted. Dad put a hand on his shoulder to try to comfort him. We all stared at the MC as she raised a large rock in one hand and held it over the disgusting, bubbling pond. "Watch," she instructed us with a smile. She let the rock drop into the pond. As soon as it touched the thick surface, it was pulled down with a loud sucking sound. "See how easy it is to say goodbye?" the horror said, turning to us. "Now will you jump in, or do you want to be pushed?" Chapter 27. Silently, the horrors began moving in on us. Closer, closer. Backing up, Clay tripped over my foot and nearly fell into the gurgling purple pit. I grabbed him and held on to him until he regained his balance. All 5 of us were standing at the edge of the pit. The sour odor swept over me. I felt sick, and the thick purple slime lapped up at my ankles as if reaching out to grab me. "Mom, Dad," I cried. I didn't know what I expected them to do. We were all helpless. I knew we weren't going to escape this time. Without realizing it, we were all holding hands. "Will you jump in, or do you want to be pushed?" The MC repeated her question. "I'm really sorry," Dad murmured to us, ignoring her. "I'm really sorry I brought you here. I didn't know." His voice broke. He lowered his eyes. "Dad, it isn't your fault," I told him, squeezing his hand. And as I squeezed his hand, I had an idea. A wild idea. A stupid idea. A really crazy idea. But I had to try it. It was the only idea I had. "People laugh at everything in the park," the Horrorland MC had told us. "But it's all very serious to us." She'd said, "All very serious. Very serious." She stood right in front of me now, waiting for us to jump to our deaths, eager for us to get sucked down into the purple slime. I knew this was my chance. I knew it was crazy, but I knew I had to try it. I stepped up to the MC, reached out, and pinched her arm as hard as I could. Chapter 28. Her mouth opened wide, and she let out a startled gasp. She tried to pull her arm away, but I held and pinched harder. "The mad pincher strikes again," I shouted, remembering Luke's annoying cry. Her yellow eyes rolled around crazily. "No," she pleaded. "Harder, harder." And then I was the one to cry out as her mouth opened wide, and with a loud whoosh, a rush of air escaped her lips. I leaped back. As the air rushed from her mouth, she appeared to deflate just like a balloon. I gaped in amazement as she folded helplessly on the ground. An angry cry rose up from the crowd of horrors. "Inflate her," one of them yelled. "Inflate her immediately." What is going on? Are they balloons? Are they like pool floaties? I am baffled. I am baffled. What is going on in this book? Chat, I don't know. There's so much going on. I'm still back at the bat barn. I don't know. I'm still back at the bat barn. This is much. Like, what do you mean we only have one chapter left? I have so many questions. They began moving in on us, growling and grumbling menacingly. "Pinch them," I shouted to my family. "Pinch them." The no pinching signs that we thought were so stupid, they were serious. The horrors deflate if they're pinched. A horror stepped up, arms outstretched to push me in the pond. I pinched his arm hard, and a few seconds later he deflated. I heard the whoosh of air escaping to my right, and saw that Luke had deflated one too. Whoosh! Another one deflated and folded to the pavement. That's all it took. A plaza filled with frightened cries and gasps of horror. The alarmed horrors turned and ran. Stampeded is a better word. They scattered through the park, screaming as they ran. Taking a long, deep breath, I happily watched them flee. "See? I always come through in a pinch," I said, amazing myself by making a joke. I don't think anyone else in my family heard me. They were shouting for joy, hugging each other, jumping up and down. "Let's get out of here," I shouted. I started running towards the front gate, the others following closely behind. The gate was open now. I guess the horrors had opened it. Figuring the only place we were heading was the bottom of the purple pond. Without looking back, we ran out into the empty parking lot and stopped. "No car," I murmured. In all the excitement, I had forgotten that a car had been blown up. I let out a weary sigh. I felt as if I were deflated just like the horrors. "Now what?" I asked, staring across the enormous flat parking lot. "It's too far to walk," Luke wailed. "How do we get out of here?" "The buses," Mom cried, pointing. I turned my eyes to the row of purple and green buses parked on the side of the lot. They glowed under the bright afternoon sun. "Yeah," Dad cried excitedly. "Maybe we can start one up and get away from here." We started jogging over the pavement to the buses. "Cross your fingers," Dad called, leading the way. "Maybe they leave the keys in them. It's our only chance." "Hurry," Luke shouted suddenly. "They're coming." My heart leaped in my chest. I turned back toward the gate. Sure enough, the horrors were pouring out of the park, chasing after us. "Give up. You cannot escape," one of them screamed. "No one ever escapes," another horror shouted. "Hurry," Luke cried. "Hurry, they're going to catch us." Chapter 29. With the horrors close behind, shouting and threatening us, we ran full speed toward the row of buses. My heart was pounding almost as loud as my sneakers against the pavement. My throat ached and I had a sharp pain in my side. But I kept running. "You cannot escape. Stop now. Give up." The angry cries of the horrors sounded even closer, but I didn't even turn back to see if they were catching up. The door to the first bus was open. Dad got there first and scrambled up the steps. Mom Mom stepped in, followed by the two boys. I pulled myself inside, and the bus door slid shut behind me. Dad, the keys, I choked out. Yes, they're here, he cried happily. Hold on, we're getting away. The engine coughed, then started up with a roar. Dad lowered his foot on the gas pedal, and the bus shot forward. I stumbled down the aisle and fell into a seat behind Luke and Clay. Hurry, they're coming, they're coming. Luke and Clay were screaming in unison. I could hear the angry shouts of the horrors through the closed bus windows. We're okay, Dad cried, leaning over the big steering wheel. We're okay. We're out of here. Yes, I shouted happily. Yes. We all started to cheer. We kept cheering until we were out of the parking lot and back on the highway. We laughed and celebrated all the way home. The drive took hours and hours, but we didn't care. We were safe. We had escaped. It was night when Dad pulled the bus up on our driveway. Home, sweet home, I cried joyfully. We all piled eagerly out of the bus. I took a deep breath and stretched. The air smelled so sweet and fresh. The full moon made the front lawn shine. And then I saw him. It was a horror, and he was clinging to the back of our bus. Oh no, I cried out. What are you doing here? Did you ride there the whole way home? Luke asked in disbelief. I shrank back as the horror let go of the bus and slid to the ground. His yellow eyes studied us menacingly. He moved toward us quickly. Clay and Luke hid behind Dad. Mom's mouth dropped open in fright. What do you want? I cried. He reached out his green hand. Here, he said. We forgot to give you your free passes for next year. Is that really how it ends? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Good gracious. Huh. That is really how it ends. Well, that was one day at Horrorland, everyone. That was crazy. What an ending indeed. Wowee. That was fun. I don't know how to feel about that. It was just one thing after another. It felt so, it felt like the TikTok equivalent. Or the equivalent to like a TikTok that has like a bunch of reactions and flashing lights and stuff just to keep your attention. It felt like one thing happened after another, after another, after another. And it was all real / fake. How interesting. It was very crazy. Very crazy indeed. Okay. I did promise a little bit of humming. So, how about, sorry, I'm looking at all of my screens. I feel like I would have gone into psychosis if this was me. Me too. Me too. I don't know what I would have done. I think I would have just... I don't know. I could not make a good, protagonist. I would make an awful protagonist. I'm so scared of everything all the time. I would not make a good protagonist. I would be awful on reality. reality TV. If someone put me on a reality TV show, it would just be me probably trying to hide from the camera for like the entire time. It is nuts to me that there are like people who can be in front of a camera like the whole time. Totally nuts. And make a violent one. Hit first ask questions after 5 hours pass. 5 hours pass after they come back into consciousness. Understandable. Okay. I think what I'm going to do now is prep for my upcoming stream tomorrow. Make sure everything is prepped for tomorrow. And while I'm doing that, I will do some humming. Because I feel very awkward trying to just hum. Because I don't think, I'm a very decent hummer. I think I can keep up tune. I'm very self-conscious. So I'm gonna do that. So I guess this section is a bit of typing and humming and such, just so I get used to it. I'm still a really shy VTuber. I still get really shy about things. So, yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. Because I said I'd do it. Regardless if Oro is here or not. And Oro, if you left before I was able to do it, how dare you? And if you're watching this VOD, how dare you? But thank you for coming back. Okay. Now I've forgotten every song I've ever known. Ever in my life. I think the only song I have in my head right now is ABBA. Because I was thinking about Mamma Mia. Earlier, I was doing the lay all your love on me. Oh, I'm nervous. I hate doing this. Okay, if I do singing streams, I need to figure out how to not be nervous and to actually sing. Or to actually hum. How do people do this? People just come in on here and sing? I'm a nervous person. People just come on here and do music? That's crazy. There are musicians on here. There are musicians in my chat. You just produce music. That's nuts. Okay. 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 You know what I'm gonna do? I know what I'm gonna do. Rain, we're going to stop for a little bit. And we're going to put on music that only I can hear. And we're gonna go from there. And I'm gonna be brave. And I'm gonna hum a little bit. And it'll be okay. Okay, chat? That is what's happening. That's what's happening. I'm really just trying to be brave. I'm brave. I'm a brave mouse who can hum when asked. I can hum on command. I can do it. I'm being brave. Okay. What song? Wonder if you guys don't want to be around me because I sing that. I'm nervous. Or if my humming is bad. Wonder if you guys leave. I don't want you to leave. Okay. Let's see. literally blocking you. See? I'm gonna be blocked. Aito's gonna block me. Okay, how about I try practicing singing a song that I have been wanting to sing for a cover. You won't be able to hear the music though, so that's what's gonna make it awkward. But I suppose if you're just listening to me, like if I was just singing around the house with like my headphones on, that's what you would hear. Will you guys still like me after? I hope so. I'm not a really strong singer. Okay. I'm gonna tune you all out. I'm gonna ignore chat, and I'm just gonna sing a little bit. Even though I've been talking this entire time and it's probably not gonna sound great. Okay. I just have to do it a handful of times and I'll get braver. Okay, alright. The song that I'm gonna be singing, if you're all curious, is called Would You Be So Kind by Dodie, and it's a really cute song that I've been singing around. And it's the first song that came to mind. So I'm gonna go do that. So yes, just imagine I'm just singing to myself. And yeah. Okay. I have a question. It might seem strange. How are your lungs? Are they in pain? 'Cause mine are aching. Think I know why. Wanna try? Would you be so kind as to fall in love with me? I like you, but that's not enough. So if you will, please fall in love with. It's only fair. Gotta be some butterflies somewhere. Wanna share, 'cause I like you, but that's not enough. So if you will, please fall in love with me. I am shaking so much. Be in my book. Gotta join me on my page. At least take a look. Where are your manners? You need some time. Okay. Would you be so kind as to fall in love with me? I'm trying. I like you, but that's not enough. So if you will, please fall in love. It's only fair. Gotta be some butterflies somewhere. Wanna share, 'cause I like you. That's not enough. So if you will, please fall in love with. This is so hard. And I was supposed to be doing karaoke streams. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this. Can you heart rate rise a little? Do me a favor. Can you heart rate rise a little? This is so nerve-wracking. Okay, let me try to change songs and maybe see if I can. Okay, this is really nerve-wracking. I don't know how people do this. Okay. Okay. I wonder, I will not be surprised if you know this song. I'm just gonna say. But let me try this song because I have sang this song in public before at church. It's not like really religious or anything, but I'm gonna try this and then I'm gonna stop because I'm really shaky. I'm really nervous. I didn't think I would be. Okay, I'm just gonna try to sing this a cappella and go from there. There's a song that's inside of my soul. It's the one that I've tried to write over and over again. I'm awake in the infinite cold, but you sing to me over and over and over again. So I lay my head back down and I lift my hands and pray to be only yours. I pray to be only yours. I know now you're my only hope. Just get through the song. Just one song. Sing to me the song of the stars, of your galaxy dancing and laughing again. When it feels like my dreams are so far, sing to me of the plans that you have for me over again. So I lay my head back down and I lift my hands and pray to be only yours. I pray to be only yours. I know now you're my only hope. I give you my destiny. I'm giving you all of me. I want your symphony, singing in all that I am. At the top of my lungs, I'm giving it all back. So I lay my head back down and I lift my hands and pray to be only yours. I pray to be only yours. I pray to be only yours. I know now you're my only hope. Okay, that's enough. That was okay. We're not gonna talk about that. We're not gonna mention that. We're not gonna do anything about that. That was Only Hope by Mandy Moore. And no, my interactive one. Aito, thank you for the head pats. I feel it. I have no idea why it isn't showing up. I left it for all the wrong reasons. What does that mean? That was Only Hope by Mandy Moore, and it's from this movie called A Walk to Remember, and I really like the song. And I promise I can carry a tune. I'm just really nervous, and I read a lot. I'm not a great singer, but I still want to do a cover, and I hope that was okay. But I'm glad I was able to at least sing a little bit. Okay. Okay. I hope. I'm sorry. I was super trembly the entire time. But I'm glad I did it once, and hopefully it'll be easier because it is my goal to do a cover, and it is my goal to sing a little bit more, um, on command, or like, because I know I do sing it and hum and stuff as I'm gaming and everything. But I don't really do it like, you know, on its own because I'm not too confident in my singing at all. I like to do it though, so I would like to do it more and have more confidence in it. And I feel like I'm talking a lot now. I feel like I'm okay. I'm gonna stop. So there's your singing, Ro. And we finished the book today. So next week I am going to be our sub goal is reached, so we're going to be doing some reading of pumpkin recipes, which I think is gonna be really fun. I have a way that I want to read it too, which I think will be kind of interesting. So I have a plan. I have a plan for how I want to read it. So it'll be great. Um but yeah. So that will be next ASMR stream, same time. This Sunday I'm going to be playing Pokemon Scarlet starting at 12 p.m. my time, mouse time, PST. Hopefully I will be making very good um headway for Pokemon Scarlet. I don't think we'll be able to finish it on Sunday, but we will get very close to finishing everything. I'm probably gonna do more grinding to make sure I have everything I need. And yeah. And then I'll be doing some more cozy comfy games next week, including a little to the left and unpacking. So we shall see how it all goes. But yeah, and I think that's it. Thank you for joining me and for still being here even after I was singing a little bit. Uh, I hope you still like me and think I'm cute. I will get better. I just need to practice. But thank you for being here. Thank you for being um yeah, just thank you for being here. And I hope you enjoyed the story as well. After after the pumpkin recipes, if we didn't hit the goal for the Pokédex stuff, then I will start on the next Goosebumps book. Is my plan. I have a bunch of Goosebumps books, so we're always gonna have ASMR streams. So, this has been fun. But thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna switch to my ending screen now and say my goodbyes. Okie dokie, artichoke. I'm still trying to calm down from trying to sing. Good gracious. Okie dokie. But really, thank you all for being here. I hope I was able to help kickstart a cozy, comfy weekend for all of you into the cozy, comfy week to come. Make sure you're drinking water and stretching and being kind to yourselves. And with that, that is all for today with Mimzy May. Come back to the pumpkin patch soon, okay? Have a good rest of your time zone, everyone, and I will see you very soon.